Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Aquarius, where are we at tonight? We have the 10 of Wands. I know, not the favorite. But listen, we'll figure it out. We're going to figure this out. We're going to see what kind of opposition is kind of hanging out in your life right now. Is this like an old thing? Is this something rooted deep in your histories? Or is this kind of like a passing whatever, right? We'll go ahead. We're going to spin. We're going to spin the ball. And we'll knock. Just to be polite. And we'll take a look. It looks like a smiley face. My goodness. Take a look. Here we go. There, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Yeah, it looks very smiley. Now, let's take a look right in here. So we have below the person pointing at the bird. We have a person right here. You can see the body and the head. And the head's kind of in a back, like it's hanging backwards. Like they're looking up, looking way up into the sky and pointing and pointing and pointing. And it looks like a bird, but it also looks like an eye. It also looks like a helicopter, okay? So I'm going to think of this as kind of like a chariot of the gods, right? Chariot of the gods. And also the messenger. And yes, the witness as well. So I do feel that you have been appealing to the divine. You have been asking, you have been praying, you have been putting your intention out there. Hey, I need some clarity. Hey, I need some information. I need some kind of, revelation here. Because whatever it is that is pulling on your heart, and it feels like it's tugging right on your heart. This is a thing that you are not going to let go until you get it resolved or figure it out. Whatever it might be. This is something that I feel that it is maybe a situation that has arisen with people in your life that I don't think that they are close friends, maybe more like acquaintances, or maybe you just kind of belong to a similar thing, like a church, right? Or a mosque or a club, or, your kids are in the same sport, or maybe you went to the same school together. Maybe you work together, but, you're not close. You know who they are in passing, but I feel that there's an opportunity for you to be of assistance. And I think that's the big thing here, is that you notice, I feel like you notice that something is going on with them, that maybe they haven't said, they haven't announced to everybody. But you recognize the signs. And I don't know what it is, and I don't want to go into it because it does feel like something that is emotionally charged. Now, I do believe that their situation, whatever's going on, you have eyes to see the signs, the patterns, because you yourself are familiar with a similar situation. And I feel like that's an old thing. Maybe from childhood, maybe young adult, maybe like a first marriage or a job, or you're young. You're young when this comes to pass, right? And I feel like you witnessing whatever they're going through, it takes you right back to that place. And you're flooded with emotion. You're flooded with, imagery and this kind of psychic pain. And that's what it feels like, psychic pain. So I do see you really being quite motivated to assist in a way that is non-harmful, And if you are somebody that, for instance, has been around, domestic mistreatment, abuse, this kind of thing, you know how complicated helping somebody who is trying to leave a situation like that, how very, very sensitive, and it's a very volatile situation. So you know that it's not just like, you think, oh, well, somebody's being mistreated. Well, why don't they just leave? Or why doesn't somebody go in there and, show that person what's up, right? And help their friend or family member just get out of there. We know that it's not that easy. It's a very complex situation. Now, I'm not saying that this is what is happening, but I feel like it is as sensitive, if not more sensitive, than something like this. So it's not easy. It's not a lighthearted subject. It's not, something that can just be fixed overnight. Okay? But I do see this being an ordeal that you yourself meet with an open mind and an open heart. But I also see this as being an opportunity to maybe work through some of your own trauma, your own pain, right? Whatever maybe went on, right? And maybe it didn't happen to you. Maybe it's something you witnessed at home. Maybe it's something, that, whatever. I don't want to go into, these are very touchy things. That's what it feels. It just feels like, and I have my own, and I've talked about them here. I have things in my life that happened to me, that went on in my family, that went on in my friends groups, as I got older, and just living very impulsively and having very risky behavior, right? And so I've had a lot of things go on in my life, a lot of different stuff that is hard to talk about, but some things that are so difficult and that I don't talk about them as much as I did when I was in therapy, and I was working through some issues I was having concerning or in relation to SA, if you know what that means, when I was a child from a family member. So, and that was an ongoing thing for years. So, I've talked about it here. And I'm laughing because I feel uncomfortable for a second. I don't know what to say. But, I don't feel comfortable often getting into the details of what I'm like kind of feeling from when these things come up, because it's so thick with emotion and oftentimes fear and desperation and confusion and loss and these kinds of feelings. So I don't want to pick apart what this might be, but I know that it is an opportunity for you to be processing. if that is what you want to do. If not, then I suggest that you do not get involved in this situation. Okay. The other part is, I feel like when you experience something that brings up, it invokes deep emotional responses from you, it's important, even if it feels silly, even if it's like a commercial, right, that makes you cry, which, yeah, I'm pointing at myself. I am definitely that lady. Even if it's just something like that where you're like, oh, that was silly, I still feel like we should all have people in our lives that are kind of our check-in people or our support systems, if we're lucky enough to have these people, right? You know, and I've been through times in my life where I had nobody to talk to, and that's why I started going to meetings. But to even just say like, hey, I am feeling like today I've had some really like strong emotional reactions. You know, I feel like, you know, I'm going to be intentionally involving myself in some deep work here, and I want to have somebody as a check-in person. I need to talk to somebody, you know, or at least let somebody know how I'm doing every day, right? And, you know, I think most of us feel like, oh, I don't want to bother anybody. But if your like little sister sent you this text and said, hey, I'm trying to help somebody, it's making me feel a lot of emotional stuff about when we were kids, I would really like to like send you a message, you know, when I'm feeling like I'm a little overwhelmed or whatever it is. Wouldn't you just immediately say, yeah, of course, right? So keep in mind that energy when you're thinking, yeah, I want to like activate a support person in my life. So if you are doing this kind of deep work, if you are in a place that is very emotional, I feel like, yes, please be brave, reach out to somebody, okay? Now, we also have, it looks like a bear's face, head, right here. Here are the eyes, here's the snoot, okay? The ears. So we have this real mama bear energy. And I'm 100%, that's what I feel. Very protective, which makes sense to me. It makes sense that you would be kind of, if you've had this kind of, you know, pulling you into these places where maybe at times you felt vulnerable and out of control of your own body or your safety or, you know, whatever it is. And then you go into this like mama bear mode, right? And so if that is for you or if that is for somebody else, I feel like, you know, it is something to remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way, you know, and it is actually something that has been useful for you at times. You want to, you know, take the temperature of what's going on. Make sure that it's not an overreaction or, you know, it's not an overreaction. I don't like that, saying that, overreaction. It is not, it doesn't seem to fit the situation. Like, so you're having a total, you know, breakdown about something like, yeah, you knocked over a glass of water or whatever, or spilt milk, right? That might be something where you're like, okay, I need to kind of look at why is this happening, right? But I feel like it's important. This is just going to be a time where I think you need to check in with yourself as well a lot, okay? So we have the bear. We also have the head of the deer on this side. So we have the right here and then the ears, okay? So it feels to me like this very the bear is the protective, right? And then the deer is the sacred. This is the soft, the sacred, the kind of skittish, right? Not very trusting, but also beautiful and graceful and all these things. So I feel that you are kind of finding your medium, right? Because you're a beautiful, graceful, knowledgeable, wise being. You are a being that has, like a very abundant amount of medicine. And I don't mean like, Tylenol or whatever. Medicine, the balancing energies in your life. You have this healing property or ability. I feel that you are often the person that people come to when they have very serious things going on, because, well, you're honest, but also you have eyes to see. You perceive the world in a way that most people don't. You are also somebody that will not compromise yourself just to, get the easy thing, right? You might be somebody that has taken a long time to find somebody that you truly love. Like you wouldn't marry somebody that I kind of love them. Good enough, right? No, you are somebody that's only going to marry your soulmate, right? And so I feel like you're in this place where you're balancing these two things. It's very sacred, elegant, almost kind of like, it's like when you move, you're floating across the ground, right? With this, very protective, strong, powerful, intimidating, but beloved and loving, and you give all of yourself, right? So I feel like, and then I feel like it is being balanced out and we have this hummingbird energy. So you're a very busy person. You're doing your projects, your interests, your hobbies. And this is kind of where you have the work. It's kind of set on your desk, right? All this spiritual work, this emotional work, this self-work. And you take it into the realm of, your imagination, your hobbies, where you can get into that flow state. That's what I'm getting at. So maybe you like to paint, right? Maybe you like to play poker. Maybe you like to jog, whatever it is. And you're doing it, and you're thinking, and you're trying to get into the space where you can just, get through your workout, or you're, able to see the different moves of the other players, and, so on and so forth, and anticipate, and you do, and you get there. And this is where you can work out the hardest problems of your life. Right? And so I see you using that magic that that you have, that technique that that you have, that ability that that you have to figure this out, to do this work, to do that processing. It's hard work. If you're calling this shadow work, self-work, spiritual alchemy, healing, whatever it is, all of it is difficult. It's not something that, we run to with glee. And if you do, props, right? You are one to be admired. But the rest of us, right? Yeah, it's something we avoid quite often, or we pick it up and we put it right back down. And so please embrace yourself. Give yourself the kudos that you deserve, because I see you being very proactive, Very proactive and using what you know works for you. And that is very advanced. I mean, it really, truly is. I'm always so interested in people that like divine and, use different kind of non-obvious ways of, invocation or activation or charging or whatever. That's why I love chaos magic. I mean, it really is. But it's interesting to see people that do it in non-traditional or non-prescribed, mediums. So I do, and I think that you are somebody who is a natural in this way. Like, you just follow your instincts, and they serve you well. Absolutely. Now, we have somebody with a V name. I am guessing it is something like Victoria, Vicky. We also have the number 12. We have the word bat, B-A-T. It could also be maybe like baton, B-A-T-O-N, or bat, and then we also have N. We also have the word N, I-N, N. So I'm seeing a scene of you at a pond or a lake with a older man. You're young. And I think that this is where they go to fish, or maybe they feed the ducks. And I think this just wants to be recognized as a place where you had peace. And maybe this is why you like to be outside, one of the reasons, and why you like to watch birds or animals, squirrels. I think you are somebody that likes to sit and just observe. And this is the person that this comes through. And I do believe that they have passed. And they're around. They're around. They're not overly involved or anything. They're not like watching everything you do. But I do think that they hang around you sometimes. You can feel them. Okay, now we're going to do our 3 lucky numbers. 100. All right, 100. 69, 169, and 53. All right. And then we're going to end with our Indigo Sage affirmation cards. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop where it feels right. There we go. All right. So, number 23, meditate in joy. Your heart can hear the rhythm of Gaia. Let the beat eternally dance on your breath. All right. Okay. So, let's do the inner child oracle as well. We'll do one of these. And I'll stop where it feels right and we'll flip it around. It says, number 18, it is okay to be misunderstood. Perception is not always based on truth. Well, what is truth? But all kinds of different perceptions, right? So, yes, absolutely. When we can embrace just, I do not care any longer if you understand what I'm talking about or not, but if you're here and, you get something from it, a little snippet or maybe the whole dang thing, that's good enough for me. I don't care if people understand me anymore. I barely understand myself. or anybody else for that matter. So, you know, you're in good company. All right. Yes, Aquarius, I love you absolutely so much. And if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. I would love to hear about how your season is going. We are about to be going into summer, winter in the southern hemisphere. What have you been up to? Are you gardening? Are you having bonfires? Have you been riding the bike, you know, to work? What are you doing? What's happening? I'm so interested in, you know, I've been away for a couple days here. Not from my house. I've just not worked for a couple days, and at least recorded general readings for YouTube. I've been, you know, getting used to our new routine. My daughter is out of school now, and we're settling into that summer schedule, and yeah, so I needed a couple days to be wrapping things up and getting new things going, and I'm happy to be here again. But I feel like I've missed out on a bunch of stuff, and I'd love to hear what's going on with you. Put it in the comments, or you can email me at ulaishere@gmail.com. All right, again, I love you, I love you, I love you. We'll talk soon. Good night.